Hello, my wonderful viewers. You are welcome to another interesting Cafdil science lessons. And from Cafdil Studios, this is your teacher, Ernest Atto Bento. Today we are going to go through another interesting lessons. And as you know, we are using the NACA GES curriculum, the same curriculum you are using at school. So today we are still on strand 1, diversity of matter. Substrand 2, materials. We started the substrand 2 in our previous lesson where we looked at properties of materials. Today we are going to look at materials still under substrand 2, but we are going to look at reversible and irreversible change of some materials, reversible and irreversible change of some materials. You can also enjoy these lessons on our social media handles. If you go to YouTube, type Cafdil Edu, and on Facebook, type Cafdil Cape Coast. So on YouTube, you can go to Cafdil Edu, and then on Facebook, Cafdil Cape Coast, to enjoy these lessons on your devices. So today we are on reversible and irreversible change. So this is lesson 4. Lesson 4. Lesson 1, we began with life processes. Lesson 2, we looked at living things, once alive and then never alive things. In lesson 3, we looked at properties of materials, and this is lesson 4 on reversible and irreversible change. Now, before we begin, as I told you, anytime you learn, make sure you add something new to whatever you know. Anytime you take your bag, you go to school, you may do about 5 subjects in school. Make sure that the same knowledge you send to school in the morning, that is not the same knowledge you are coming back home with. At least you must learn something new every day when you go to school. So the same way, at the end of this lesson, I would like you to be able to describe what reversible and irreversible changes. To state 2 examples of reversible change, and 3, mention 2 examples of irreversible change. So at the end of the lesson, these are the performance indicators I would like to see in you. Describe what reversible and irreversible changes. State 2 examples of reversible change and mention 2 examples of irreversible change. Good. Now let's begin with the lesson, reversible and irreversible change. Many substances can be changed from one state to another by heating or cooling. In Basic 3, you learned about how substances change states. And if you look at the states of matter at that level, we looked at liquid, solid, and then gas. So how substances change states. A substance can change from solid to liquid, from liquid to solid, from liquid to gas. So as we are saying, many substances can change from one state to another by either heating or cooling. And the change can be grouped into 2, reversible or irreversible. Reversible or irreversible. So some of the changes can be reversed. Some of them become permanent, and that is what we call irreversible. So substances can change state from one to another by heating or cooling. And this change can be grouped into 2, reversible and irreversible. Let's start by looking at irreversible. Let's start with the reversible change. Reversible change. So when we talk about reversible change, what do we mean? In a reversible change, a material turns into something that looks different, but the material can be changed back to its original form. So in a reversible change, a material can turn into something that looks different, but the material can be changed back to its original form. So that means that that change is not permanent. You can change it back to its original form. And let's look at some. In a reversible change, no new substance is formed. An example is thawing of ice to water. Thawing of ice to water. So when ice is turning into water, we call it thawing. So thawing of ice to water is a reversible change. Why? Because I take an ice cream from the fridge. Immediately I took it, maybe your mom called you to send you out. By the time you came back, it has changed to liquid, from solid to liquid. You can put it back into the freezer for it to freeze to become solid, and then you enjoy it in a solid form. So no new substance is formed. If I put water in a cup into a fridge, it will turn to ice block. I can put the ice block out of the fridge, it will thaw into water, and I'll get my water again. If I want to change it to ice block, I put it back. So in reversible change, no new substance is formed. You can always change it to its original form. An example is the thawing of ice to water. So let's look at some examples, more examples. So the first one, as we said, is the ice. So you see the ice here. The ice will thaw into liquid. As you see, the ice will thaw into liquid. And then when it thaws into liquid, you can just put this liquid back into a freezer and it will freeze it, and then you get our ice back. So no new substance is formed. Liquid to solid, solid to liquid, liquid to solid, no new substance is formed. So one example of reversible change is the thawing of ice. One example of reversible change is the thawing of ice. The next example is folding of paper. So if I can fold this paper, as you see, folding this paper, and then I make a boat out of it, I can just unfold the paper, and then I will get my paper back. I will just unfold it, and then I will get my paper back. So no new substance is formed. I can use it to do aeroplane. I can unfold it to get my paper back. So no new substance is formed. The same paper, I change it to a boat. The same paper, I change it to aeroplane. The same way I can change it again to another form. So no new substance is formed by folding a paper. So we have looked at thawing of ice and the folding of paper as examples of reversible change. Now let's go to filling of balloon with air. Filling of balloon with air. So if you put a reasonable air, the word is reasonable, into the balloon, you can lose it to get your balloon back in a deflated form. If you give more air to the balloon, as you give more air, it will burst. It will burst. So if you fill a balloon with air, you can lose the air out of it and you get the deflated balloon back. So that action is also a reversible change. As you see on your screen, you put in air, you take the air, you put in air, you take the air. So you can change the balloon size to its original form. So this is also an example of a reversible change, filling balloon with air. The next one is mixing water and sand mixing water and sand. So if I mix water and sand and I put it down for some time, the sand will settle at the bottom of the water. Then I can pour the water into another beaker. As you see, I will get my sand back and I'll get the water too back. So after some time, I pour the water and then I get the sand and the water as separate materials. I'll get it as so sometimes when you go and fetch water and the water has some particles in it, when you put it down, see that the particles will settle at the bottom of the container, and then later you can pour the water carefully, the filtered water or the clean water, leaving the particles at the bottom. So mixing of water and sand is a reversible change because no new substance is formed. No new substance is formed. So mixing of water and sand is also a reversible change. Now let's go to irreversible change. Irreversible change. With a reversible change, no new substance is formed. That is one thing you have to know. And the substance formed can be changed back to its original form. And we give example as thawing of ice. We give example of folding a paper and then mixing of sand and water. Now we are on irreversible. So what is irreversible? In an irreversible change, material completely changes into a new and different material. So in an irreversible change, a material completely changes into a new and different material. The new material cannot be changed back to what it was before. So in an irreversible change, a new substance is formed and the material cannot be changed back to how it was before. That is irreversible change. So if you look at the example here, you can see a broken bottle. Can you change this broken bottle to its original form? No. If this glass is broken, it's broken. Nothing can be done again. Look at this paper. It's bent. So in an irreversible change, a new and a different material is formed, and you cannot change it back to its original form. That is the difference. With reversible, you can change. With irreversible, you cannot. Changes where new substance is formed is called irreversible. And these are the examples you see here. These are the examples. So you will agree with me that when these things happen, there is no way you can change it to its original form. Now let's look at some examples. Burning of paper. Burning of paper. If the paper is burnt, it changes into ashes, and the ash and the paper are completely two different things. I can write on a paper, I can fold a paper, but I cannot do the same with the ashes after it is burnt. So burning of paper is irreversible. If a friend takes your exercise book and burn the exercise book into ashes, there's no way you get it back. And that is an example of irreversible change. Burning of paper. Burning of paper. It's an irreversible change. You can't get the paper back. When you burn things, you can't get them back. It's an irreversible change. 2, bursting of balloon. If you have a balloon and it bursts, there's no way you can mend it and get the balloon back. The balloon is gone, it's destroyed forever. And that is an irreversible change. The balloon is burst. you can't change it. The balloon is burst. So bursting of balloon is an irreversible change. Breaking of an egg. If your mom sent you to go and buy eggs and then you break them, why do you cry? Because there is no way you can change it back to its original form. It's spoiled. If your mom is going to boil the egg, it can't be boiled again because the egg is broken. So breaking an egg is an irreversible change. There's no way that I give you eggs, then I forgot to tell you that, oh, boil the eggs for me. By the time I came, you have broken the eggs like this, ready to fry. Can I tell you that, oh, don't fry it, rather boil it? It can never be possible. Once it is broken, and the yolk is out, it is broken. You can't boil it and get it as a boiled egg. So breaking of an egg is an irreversible change. Irreversible change. Breaking of an egg is an irreversible change. You can't turn the egg back to its original form. Frying of an egg. If you fry my egg and I come back and I tell you that give me my egg back, the same egg, can't be possible unless you go and buy a new one. But the one that you have fried can never be turned back to its original form. So frying an egg is an irreversible change. Breaking an egg is irreversible. Frying is irreversible. Boiling is also an irreversible. Boiling an egg is also an irreversible change. That is why at the beginning we said that these changes will come either by heating or cooling. So if I heat an egg, I cannot change it back to its original form. So it becomes an irreversible change. Okay, I hope you are following. It's an irreversible change. If you boil an egg, if you break an egg, if you fry an egg, all these activities are irreversible. Then cooking popcorn. We get popcorn from maize. We get popcorn from maize. Normally when we go to school, we learn British English. So in Britain, they call it maize. In America, they call it corn. But the word popcorn has become a word for us. So popcorn is made from maize. And what do? We fry it. So when we fry the popcorn, it changes. We fry the maize, it changes to popcorn. And if I come and I tell you to change the maize back or the popcorn back to maize, it will be very difficult. So cooking popcorn is an irreversible change. Cooking popcorn is an irreversible change because this popcorn can never be changed back to this maize. Good. Breaking of glass. Breaking of glass. If a glass is broken, there's no way it can be fixed back. If it's broken, it's broken. It cannot be fixed back. So breaking of glass is also an irreversible change. Breaking of glass is an irreversible change. Breaking of glass. Whether it's a mirror, whether it's a bottle, whether it's a windscreen, whether it's a cup, plate, when it breaks, there's no way you can mend it. It's irreversible. Burning of candle is also an irreversible change. Burning of candle. If I buy a new candle, light it, as it burns, it reduces in size. It reduces until it's completely burnt. I cannot get the full candle again. I cannot. So burning of candle, as you see on your screen, the full candle reduces in size as it burns, and once it is completely burnt, there's no way I can get the candle back. There's no way I can get the candle back. So burning of candle is also an example of irreversible change. Burning of wood. Burning of wood. Anything we burn, majority of them becomes irreversible. Burning of paper, burning of wood is also irreversible. Look at the charcoal here and look at the wood here. Are they the same? Can we use this to make any furniture? No. It's spoils. So burning of wood is also irreversible. In the property of materials, we said that wood is hard and strong, so we use it to make certain objects. But immediately it is burnt, it loses its hardness and it breaks into pieces. So we cannot change it back to the wood again. So burning of wood becomes an irreversible change. Burning of wood becomes an irreversible change. Good. Kate, we are almost at the end of the lesson, and today we looked at materials as our substrand, and we treated reversible and irreversible. We said that when it comes to reversible, no new substance is formed. You can change the substance back to its original form. So we gave example as thawing of ice. If this ice thaws into water, I can put it back into the freezer and I'll get my ice back. If I get a balloon and inflate it with air, if I remove the air from the balloon, I'll get my balloon back. If I fold the paper, I can just unfold it and I'll get my paper back. So all these changes you see on your screen are reversible changes. No new substance is formed. I can get my original object or material back. But when you talk about irreversible, burning of candle, burning of wood, boiling of egg, I cannot get it back. Irreversible, I cannot get it back. Bursting of balloon, cooking popcorn, frying of egg, I cannot get it back. So they becomes irreversible. New substances are formed, and I cannot turn the substances back to what it was before. Now, before we leave, let's try our hands on these questions as usual. With this set of questions, we just look at the image we have on the screen, and then we tell whether the image we see or what is happening in the image is reversible or irreversible. So state whether the change you see below is a reversible or irreversible change. So the first one is this burning paper. So is it reversible or irreversible? When I burn a paper, what kind of change will I expect? Great, it's irreversible. Irreversible change. 2, thawing of ice. Thawing of ice. If this ice thaws into liquid, what change will I expect? Is it reversible or irreversible? Good, it's reversible. Good. 3, bursting of balloon. Bursting of balloon. If I burst this balloon, is it reversible or irreversible? Great, it's irreversible. Irreversible. 4, folding of paper. Folding of paper. Is it reversible or irreversible change? Folding of paper. Good, it's reversible. Lastly, breaking of egg and then frying. Breaking the egg and then frying. Is it reversible or irreversible? Great, it's irreversible. Good. I believe you all got the concept of this lesson. Reversible and irreversible change. When the change can be turned into its original form, it's reversible. If it cannot be changed, or when a new substance is formed, it becomes irreversible. Now before we leave, let's take this homework. What is reversible change? What is reversible change? 2. State 2 examples of reversible change. 3. What is irreversible change? State 2 examples of irreversible change. Kids, as usual, you see the QR code on your screen. You see the QR code on your screen. So you take your phone and then you scan the QR code on your screen to begin the exercise. Take your phone or any device you are using and scan the QR code you see on your screen to begin your exercise on reversible and irreversible change. If you don't have the QR code scanner on your device, go to Play Store and then download the QR code scanner, or you can go to App Store to download the QR code scanner. When you scan this QR code, you will see a link below. Tap on the link and then the exercise will open. Type your name, your school, and then your location. I'll give you some few minutes to do this activity. Write the homework as well as scan. If you don't have a device, you can just write the homework and then try your hands on. If you have a device, to just scan the QR code and then begin your exercise. When you finish, click on submit and then you get another page where it will tell you to view your results. View your results. So when you view your results, you see your results, and you will see your result too at Cafdil. From time to time, you will be acknowledging those who are doing well on these exercises. I remind you, you need data before you can access the exercise. You need data before. And as you know, you can also enjoy all our lessons on our YouTube and then Facebook. So on YouTube, you type Cafdil Edu, and on Facebook, you type Cafdil Edu. You can use our social media handles to enjoy all the lessons on our program. Hello kids, you are welcome back. I believe you were all able to do the activity you were told to do. So those who were able to scan, I believe you were able to, you are still on the exercise, doing your best. And those who also wrote the assignments, try and do them. Kids, today we looked at substrand 2, that is materials. And we looked at reversible and irreversible change of some materials. I believe you have learned something today and you enjoyed the lesson as well. Until I come your way again with another interesting science lesson, this is your teacher, Ernest Atto Benton. Bye-bye.